With me right now, one of my favorite guests on the he speaks his mind and he owes no countenance or, favor with either side. He's pretty blunt about that. The former Navy SEAL and Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw. Congressman, always good seeing you. You said something interesting last night when you were talking about some of your colleagues in the Republican Party who are suddenly now not really keen on addressing border laws, even though, as you accurately stated, they did come up with H.R. 2, which was only a Republican-only measure passed in the House, but it started with them. I guess now it's going to end there?
Yeah, that's a great point, Neil. That's one I bring up often. There's this bizarre new talking point from our own side that says we don't need any new laws. Well, you can't believe that and also believe that we needed H.R. 2, okay? Both things can't be true. Also, I might point out that the only reason Trump got the border somewhat under control was by an international agreement with Mexico and Northern Triangle countries. So he had to go outside of the U.S. to make that deal, and good on him, did great. But the laws were insufficient even for Trump. So we absolutely need changes to law, and we could spend 10 minutes describing what those are. But to say we don't need a deal to secure the border, that's insane. That's abdicating our duty. I have not totally lost hope for an actual deal. I just think it has to be led by the House. And I think some of us should actually start redlining the bad Senate deal with more leverage since we have the majority and put something forward that we want. Right? Not take what the Senate gives us.
Is there congressman pressure in your party, not from you, but from others who say, leave well enough alone. This is a loser issue for Joe Biden. It's a winning issue for us. Let's campaign on it. That's essentially what Donald Trump has been saying.
I am not willing to let hundreds of thousands of illegals into our country just because it might knock Biden down a couple points. I believe Trump can beat Biden on his own merits, okay? And I'm going to help him. But I am not willing to let tens of thousands of illegals into the country just because some people think it might hurt Biden a little bit. Biden's hurt himself plenty. There's plenty of things we can attack Biden on.
All right, so when you hear that some of them were against this security measure because they said that a president, couldn't willy-nilly change it, that if Donald Trump wanted to do more if he became president again, he couldn't. I didn't see that in the language there, but some of them swore on a stack of whatever that it was there, and that gave them pause because they thought it would tie, one of, if it is to be Donald Trump, one of his hands against.
I'd have to know which part you're talking about. Are you talking about the emergency authority?
Right, and beyond that, what a president can change, that their view, some of your Republican colleagues' view, was that this was in cement, that a president agrees to it, not only this one, but the one after him, the one after that one, and that there's no wiggle room here. There's no room to change it. I can't imagine that was the case, but you educate me.
Yeah. It's probably too long of a conversation. And honestly, look, the Senate deal is so dead at this point that I don't want to be even debating the merits of it. We need to change it. We need to listen to what people have critiqued it on, and we need to make a better one. All right, and we also need to change Ukraine aid. It can't just be $60 billion of Ukraine aid, right? We're going to strip out humanitarian aid for Ukraine. That shouldn't be on us. That should be on Europeans. We should also separate that supplemental. You know that $28 billion of that $60 billion doesn't go to Ukraine. It actually goes to our Department of Defense. Well, it should be labeled that way. It shouldn't be labeled Ukraine aid. We're not sending $60 billion to Ukraine. So there's a lot of changes we need to make. The one benefit of the Senate deal is that there's now something that we can edit. That's the one benefit. There's now something that we can edit, and we need to edit the hell out of it.
How realistic is that, though? How likely is that?
Slim chance. Slim chance of success, but some of us have to try. Otherwise, what's the point?
Congressman, thank you very much. Good to see you again. Dan Crenshaw of Texas. We shall see.